the former Auburn Dam site. It's now called the American River Overlook. And you can see what was to have been the left abutment of the dam there. And it would have been a curved dam that came around over to here through the trees where you can't see. The picture you have in your guidebook is actually something that was taken 25 years ago, at the time when they were actually studying this site. They, like many things, it was a site that was put in without any geologic input whatsoever. They did it because of the topographic sort of position. They decided it would be a double arch concrete dam of the new design because of the lack of aggregate here. Whereas at Oroville, when they put the Oroville Dam in, they had a lot of dredge tailings out that they could use. They put a railroad in Oroville that transferred dredge tailings from the flat up to the dam, and so they filled it up in that way. So this dam was in here. We're in this big, we're in this fault zone here, and actually it's fairly wide here. It's about, I think, a kilometer or so wide. I don't remember. You know, it was fairly narrow where we were going through, and I think that's telling you probably that fault that's up in there is only a part of the history of the big faults of the fault in general. And one of the problems they had in here were they had a finite element model of the safety of the dam, and measure of the dam, and they kept finding what they called T zones and F zones. T zones being talc zones. Guess what rock that came from, right? Okay. And F zones being fault zones. And every time they would find one of these things, they would put in how much they'd have to dig it out in order to bring the safety margin back up to their minimum. And so they kept doing this. They kept digging it out and doing it more and so forth. So they were 6 or 8 months behind schedule, and I don't know how many $1 million over budget. And the foot of the dam looks like the roots of a sort of multiple series of teeth, right? But then the Oroville earthquake occurred. The Oroville earthquake was in 1975. It was about magnitude 5 something. Earthquake a little bit south of the dam, about 8 kilometers southwest to southwest of the dam at Oroville. And they didn't pay much attention to that here until someone published in the Sacramento paper that if this dam were filled and was to be taken out by an earthquake, it would take out Folsom Reservoir, which is downstream, and if that were to happen, the water would be in 15 minutes something like 40 to 75 feet over the state legislature. And that got their attention. So they put in they stopped work and they hired, what was the name of it? Williams, what was it? Williams and Clyde? Woodward Clyde. Woodward Clyde, that's right. And they came in and did a study. They dug a bunch of trenches over on this hillside over here, which you can see on the photograph. And they had a bunch of other trenches here and there. And they finally concluded that you could not show that the fault zone had not moved within the last 100,000 years. So many of you, I'm sure, know more about this than I do. But that's what I remember was the situation, and therefore the dam was stopped. Before that happened, I had the chief geologist of the Bureau of Reclamation come to my office with a couple of assistants, and that was before they had stopped all this, but after the Oroville earthquake. And he'd heard that we were working in the foothills, and he came and we talked about what you see in the foothills, and he spent an entire day trying to get me to say that the geology at Auburn was different from what it was at Oroville. And I was perspicacious enough to realize what was happening, and I never did say it, but he gave me plenty of chances to do it.
You didn't give any money?
No, he didn't give me any money. The last thing he said is that if you had enough money, you could build a bridge from here to the moon. Some wild, intelligent remark like that.
Yeah. So is there good geologizing down there?
Well, I think there is. No one, as far as I know, has done, I mean, it's almost continuous exposure for whatever it is, a kilometer across these areas. no one has actually, to my knowledge, gone down and done any work detailed work along through there. But that's something that one could put a student. A student would be great on this sort of thing, better than professors.
There's that wonderful tunnel bore that they put in too.
Right.
You could map through that.
You could map through the tunnel. I think they have, that's correct, and they stopped the water going through the tunnel, so you could probably get access to it. It's all part of the state park system now.
The AEG Sacramento section, we had a field trip, an Auburn Dam site field trip a few years ago, and there's a DVD, or not DVD, a CD of everything that was made available for that, I think, through our website.
Oh,
it's
okay.
10 or 15 through AEG Sacramento section,
Yeah.
Association of Engineering Geologists. I can relay that link to someone here.
Great.
So
then he can distribute it to everybody on
yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
In case you didn't notice, we all have everybody. One of those emails came out with everybody.
Yeah.
So you can do it yourself.
If you want it again, let me know.
Yeah, somehow it would be great to get that.
Yeah, they provided some copies of some of the geologic maps that were developed during construction. So
Oh, terrific.
they're interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting.